missing a couple guys, but it is what it is. But just beyond thrilled to have Coach C-Mac here speaking to you guys. And I can tell you, man, from the heart, this guy has done so much for this university and this program. And he's become a friend, he's become a mentor, and most importantly, he's become a brother to every single guy that he's been in contact with the last 11 years of our program. I think any guy that's been associated with our program can tell you that. So, just so beyond proud and excited for him as he kicks off this next leg of his journey of life, being a public speaker. And I think about, just the impact he's had on my life, how he's changed the course of my life. I've made me a better coach, a better father, and a better person. And it excites me so much that he's going to have that opportunity to do that now on a global and a national scale. And the world needs you, man. Your story's incredible. Hope, inspiration, everything you touch turns to gold. The guy is absolute magic, and just beyond fire up here. So let's give our way.
Let's start by just thanking you all for coming out. I couldn't be more thrilled to be doing this in front of this group of guys, some of my closest friends and family, and people that just mean the absolute world. People that have been across this journey, for not just the last 13 years, but my whole life. To start, I gotta ask you guys to just humor me a little bit. Right? I need you all to just close your eyes so we can kind of set the stage for the talk. All right, just want to make sure don't be the cool guy peeking in the back. All right, just close your eyes. I want you to think about and imagine, all right, your daily life, your routine. What helped you get dressed today? Your hands, as you brushed your hair, as you combed your teeth, or brushed your teeth, combed your hair. Your feet, as you slipped on your shoes and you walked from your room to your car. I want you to think about these things, because when you open your eyes in the next few seconds, everything that you once knew, everything that you once were able to do, you no longer can. That life that you were so familiar with, so accustomed to seeing, that routine that you were in day in, day out, is no longer the same. And you can open your eyes. See, that 30 seconds, 45 seconds, maybe even a minute, was what my experience was like 13 years ago. See, I shut my eyes from an explosion that happened in our backyard. And when I opened, everything else looked completely different. My life from that point on was no longer the same. To kind of paint a picture of who I was before, this is me. I was a quarterback of a football team. I was a role player in basketball, just trying to add a spark when I came on the bench. And I was a lacrosse player who was on a team, winning championships, producing kids that went on to the next level and played Division I. And I was living just a normal life as a normal kid. But what got me in trouble was being the hopeless romantic that I was at the time. See, I was just a normal 13-year-old kid who loved sports, but also liked to impress the ladies every now and again. And so in my mind, that night 13 years ago, I felt like I needed to put this big grandiose plan together to kind of impress this girl that I've been liking for a while. I thought, what would be better than just having this nice fire, maybe roasting some marshmallows, got this great playlist going, like all the tunes at that time, sitting up under the stars. I just thought, man, this would be a perfect night. It was when I went to start the fire that the explosion occurred. And from then on, nothing looked the same. I looked down at my hands when I opened my eyes. I could see the skin peeled back. I could see what was left of my shirt, almost like how I was wearing my sleeves now, just a cuff around my arm. As I sat there, I could just see off the side of the house reflections of blue and red lights. You hear the sirens coming down, screams for help. It was a chaotic situation. But in that chaos, I was still a 13-year-old boy. See, I was put on the back of the stretcher, and as I was wheeled through the back of the yard into an ambulance, I asked the EMT, hey, can you remove this towel around my waist, man? My balls are cold. Just to kind of lighten the mood. I was still a 13-year-old kid. But after a little laugh and a little chuckle from him, I waited for the scene to clear, and when he shut the door, I did ask him, am I gonna be okay? And from there on, it cuts to black. See, I woke up 3 months later in a hospital bed where I was told I was burned 90% of my body, 75% third degree, and I was given a 1% chance to survive. I was told I was never gonna walk again, let alone play sports, and the life I knew going forward wasn't going to be the same one I knew 3 months ago. But I'm here to tell you that my story, my journey, was about finding this mindset, this mentality that I'm talking about tonight, that allowed me to go from that hospital bed to back to playing sports again, and to this stage right here in front of me. It was this mentality that was formed through years of having success, but also having setbacks. Seeing peaks, but also valleys. See, life isn't just a straight line. You don't go from point A to point B. There are always ups and downs. And 13 years ago, I reached that bottom, that rock bottom. And it was through this mentality, this mindset, that allowed me to come back out from that hole and live the life that I'm currently living. To start, you know, for motivation. See, motivation is the driving force behind human action. There's nothing that you can do in this life without motivation. Positive or negative, it is all around us. But it is that driving force for our actions that is what determines where we're going. See, without motivation, I was never going to get out of that hospital bed. Without motivation, many of you wouldn't be playing lacrosse or being here today. See, it was the driving force that's within us that allowed you to get to this point. But for me, it was hard to find that motivation. See, I lost so much. There was every single day, more and more I found out what I could and couldn't do. It started with just trying to sit up. See, I couldn't even sit up. I wasn't strong enough after the accident to sit up, let alone stand on my feet, let alone take a step. It was incredibly frustrating. But I had to find a way to change the motivation. I had to find a way to keep going every single day. So what did I do? I started thinking about these big goals and breaking them into small little things that I could do. I wanted to play lacrosse again. Well, it started with holding a stick. I couldn't catch, I couldn't throw. I obviously couldn't run and play the sport, but I had to start somewhere. And holding a stick at the time was all I could do with what I was given. As I was going through my rehab and things were hard, I found ways to distract myself. Pick up a basketball, try to act like I was in the paint and move. See, what I could do is focus on those little things instead of focusing on the stuff that I was missing, the stuff that I was lacking, the stuff that was taken away from me. It was focusing on the little things every single day that allowed me to get to this point. And there's also this little phrase that's common in our program, which helped me take these big goals, these dreams of playing sports again, these dreams of going to school again, which was just get better every single day. Where we preach it all the time in this program, it was something that I learned so long ago. So when I started walking again, and it was hard, I stopped focusing on, hey man, I can only take one step and getting frustrated on that. I was like, all right, I took one step today. It's more than I took yesterday. So why don't we try to take 2 steps tomorrow, and then 4 steps the next day? Because I knew deep down, if I just took one more step each day, I was eventually going to get to the point where I wanted to go. I was eventually going to be able to walk down the hall, eventually walk around the ICU. And that walking would turn into running, and that running would allow me to compete and do the things that I wanted to do. And by having that mindset of just getting better every single day, and being able to maintain that motivation, 5 months later, I walk out of the hospital bed. Right? 5 months later, after an accident that should have taken my life, I was able to leave the hospital bed on my own feet. A year after leaving that hospital, I was able to finish my first season of lacrosse, leading the state in scoring and having an undefeated record in South Carolina. 2 years after being burned, lifting a trophy with my brother for our first state championship of our school's history. So by being motivated and finding that motivation, just get better every single day. Take these big dreams, these big goals, and break them into small little victories that I could achieve. A kid who was 130 pounds, leaving the hospital, who could barely walk, obviously couldn't run, couldn't play sports. 8 years later, by maintaining that motivation, I was able to finish a college career like a Division I lacrosse. 8 years later. And like I said, it was a long journey. It wasn't something that I could just wake up and do. But I was able to maintain my motivation by just trying to find those little goals, those little things that I could achieve each and every single day. Now, motivation is great, but it is that driving force that takes us from point A to point B. But it is nothing without the right attitude. See, the attitude is a feeling or opinion about something. But the beautiful thing about attitude, it is something we can completely control. So you can wake up and be in a bad mood, but you have the ability to change. When something happens, when adversity hits, when change is thrusted upon you, you can look at one or two ways. See, we are all dealt a different hand of cards almost every single day, but it's your attitude towards how you want to play them. And I thought for me, it was very difficult early on to ask, why did this happen? Why did I have to lose so much? Why did something be taken away from me? But that was never going to change my outcome. That was never going to get me out of that hospital room by asking why. I had to figure out how, and I had to flip that script to use it for myself. And it was a change in attitude that allowed me to go from viewing something that was negative, that was difficult, and just finding those little positives each and every day to keep going, to keep trying to achieve what I had set out to do. It was leave that hospital bed. See, our attitude is one that allows us to be optimistic. It allows us to believe that we're capable of so much more than what we are doing at this time. Our attitude is that mindset that gives us the ability to just want more, to see more. But with attitude, you also have to be adaptable. Right? Things aren't always going to go according to plan. Things aren't always going to go right. Many times in our life, we put together a plan, we write a list out, and then the moment we try to achieve that first thing on the list, something happens. It could be anything. But when we are adaptable, it's because we have the right attitude. See, for me, one of the hardest things early on was just trying to find my independence. Right? I couldn't get dressed. I couldn't do anything for myself outside of me eating. Even that was a struggle. And one thing I knew when I get out of that hospital bed was I had to do these things. You know how embarrassing it is being a teenager and have your parents change you, take care of you? It's so. Nobody wants to get in that situation. We don't even like changing from our teammates every time, let alone in front of your parents. So I was told that I was struggling with these, with shoelaces, right? They're small, my hands weren't what they used to be. I obviously didn't have all 10 fingers. And I was trying to remember how to tie shoes, but I couldn't do it the way I used to. So I had to eat that. And I was forced to be motivated because this is what they were offering. I call these now the 350Ds, right? Because that suck. Right? You get absolutely no style on it. And if I ever wanted to get another date, I could not be wearing those shoes, right? Elderly geriatric patient is not cool. So with the right motivation and the change in attitude, I was like, listen, man, I know how to tie shoes. I know how to make knots. All right, but I have to change the way I'm doing it. I have to think about it a little bit differently. I have to be adaptable. And so I remember, all right, what were we taught when we were young? Bunny ear, through the hole, pull the loop. So I was like, all right, look, I can make one bunny ear. But now let's figure out what to do with the other string to make that knot. And I finally worked, and when I did pull it through, it did set. I was like, holy shit, I can still wear my joints. And it was a great, great feeling. I was like, there's still hope out there for me. Same thing happened when I started eating again. See, this dish right here is actually an actual picture of my mom's world famous mashed potatoes. Right? They are literally the best side dish in the game. Right? Every holiday party, every single time our family gets together, these are made. And so when I was able to eat for the first time again, I was like, all right, I need my mom's mashed potatoes. Right? I have been on this feeding tube for like 3 months. I haven't tasted anything in a while. I need something good, something I know. All right, going this. And so my mom was probably super excited. She goes home, gets all the materials, makes them, and when she brings them in and I take the first bite, I started bawling. I was crying because I couldn't taste it. Because I was on that feeding tube for 3 months, I lost the ability to have that same sensation, the same taste that I once knew. And not only that, I was upset because I knew in order to get out of that hospital bed, I had to eat. See, when you were burned or you're dealing with an extensive injury like I was, your body's working overtime to try to heal itself. My entire skin is rehealed. All right, it's the largest organ on your body. And so I spent time just trying. All right, listen, I know this stuff sucks. I know the protein shake weren't the best. I know these certain meals I was eating weren't. I couldn't even taste it. But I had to just shovel the food in so I could get out the feeding tube so I could get out of that hospital bed. I knew if I ate, regardless of it tasting good or not, it was going to help me get a little bit further, closer to my goal, which was eventually leave the hospital bed. And I can tell you right now, 13 years later, I had absolutely no issue with eating food. And you all know that. Now, an attitude, I found this really cool quote that I think perfectly summarizes what I was talking about. And his attitude, the greatest discovery of any generation is that a human being can alter his life by altering his attitude. All right, you can change your mindset, the way you view certain situations. You can change your life. You can change outcome. All right, by just having that positive mindset, having that ability to think past the negative, past the initial reaction, which is, oh, this sucks, or why me? And by changing that mindset and using the right attitude, you are able to paint your own picture, write your own story. And that's why attitude is so important for me changing the circumstances that I was in. Now, the last one, the C, is without a doubt the most important letter in the whole acting mentality. See, the C, I know without anything else I had, the motivation, the attitude, without courage, there was no way I was going to be able to overcome what I went through. See, it's the mental strength to persevere and withstand fear or adversity. And those two words are really important. See, it's more than just dealing with the crap every single day and trying to get through it. You have to withstand it for periods of time. Right? When I was first trying to take steps, it was painful. It wasn't easy. It was hard. And I had to withstand that pain day in and day out because without it, I was never going to get to a field. I was never going to leave that hospital bed in the way I wanted to. I had to withstand the adversity. And a lot of times in our lives, we have these plans, we have these ideas, we have these goals. And early on, it's really easy to be excited. Right? It's new. But when you're hit with adversity, when a roadblock is placed in front of you, it's easy to turn away. It's easy to step down. It's easy to be complacent. But when you persevere through it, when you have the courage to move forward, it changes your outcome. See, when you are courageous, you understand all the possible outcomes, everything that could happen, because you're pursuing what can happen. You're in that pursuit of the ideal outcome, and you're not worried about all of those negative things that are going on. Because you know if you reach that end goal, if you reach that mountain, it is worth all the crap that came your way. I knew by just trying to walk, trying to run, trying to play sports again, that if I could do it, then it would be worth the pain. Right? When I came back and I played lacrosse again, it was worth going home and having ice on my feet and my back, being all wrapped up in bandages, all the cuts, all the bruises. I mean, you guys know, especially when you go to practice and you grind and you ask to be day in and day out, and you're banged up. On Saturday when you win and you're celebrating with your teammates, it's worth all the crap that you just went through. It's worth 2 days. It's worth the early mornings. But you have to be courageous in order to keep pursuing, keep persevering through it, and withstand that adversity and that fear that is in front of you. See, by being courageous, you can have moments like this. See, the celebration, the enjoyment of the fans, of our teammates, of my coaches, This was everything that we've been preaching about tonight. See, it was the courage that it took to ask Coach Shorty for an opportunity. To believe in myself and my body that it would withstand the regimen that you have to go through to play at this level. It took having the right attitude, knowing that things can go wrong, that things could fail. I could go out there and be an absolute joke, but I believed in myself and I knew that if I was motivated and went step by step, just trying to get better each day, I would get to where I wanted to get to. And I would have an opportunity like that, despite getting injured, despite showing up to practice and getting your ass beat. But just withstanding it and having the courage to try, I was able to find out what I was able to do. And that's the key of everything that I'm talking about tonight. This mentality, the motivation, the attitude, the courage, it's within all of us. It's not stuff that I just grew one day and thought of. Like, we all have these traits or stuff that we're all familiar with. It's not rocket science, it's not new. But when I was able to have this perspective because of what I went through, but I'm here to share this message because I want to ignite that light in you. I want you guys to see what you're capable of doing. See, I'm motivated to wake up every day and do this. This is what I believe in. But in order for you motivated for. And now before I finish, I want to talk about one more thing. Probably the hardest thing I could do, where I saw the real mentality used. See, it was more than just overcoming the injury. Right? I think anybody in here that's been hurt or had an injury before, you know, you either get better or you don't. Right? It's that simple. Like me coming back from the injury, me wanting to be a normal kid again, I either was or I wasn't. I was either going to stay in a hospital bed or I was going to get out and do something different. I didn't have much of a choice. It didn't take a lot of motivation to want to change my circumstances. It didn't take that big of an attitude change either. And to be courageous, yeah, I mean, I had to deal with the pain along the way, but it wasn't anywhere as difficult as what I really had to face. See, for 13 years, I was the same way. I was, at that time, kind of a handsome kid, I would say. Here's a rude teenage picture of me. And I was growing into myself, I had a lot of confidence, right? Like I said before, I was a quarterback on the football team, I was playing on the basketball team, I was really good across the way, had everything going for me. I was a pretty confident kid. I closed my eyes, I had an explosion, and when I woke up, this is what I looked like. I was covered in scars, I had lost about half my weight. I was not the same kid. And it was very difficult for me to stare at that reflection day in and day out and be okay with it. See, the biggest thing, the biggest challenge that I dealt with was gaining my confidence back. Because that was what was taken from me. It took a long, long time. But what I realized, like many of us in here may realize, when we look into a mirror, we don't exactly see what we want to see. Is I was staring at a version of myself that was still healing, that was still recovering. That wasn't going to be the finished product. Just like some of us aren't the finished products, the finished versions of ourselves right now. But as I continue to grow, as I continue to get better, both mentally and physically, I started appreciating the person that I saw. I started appreciating not what I was lacking, what I didn't have, but I was happy for what I was able to do. Right? I was here. I at least had an opportunity to live again. And then as I started walking and running and playing sports, I was like, holy crap, I'm getting my life back. And those were good. And so the version of myself that I saw in the mirror was easier and easier and easier to see. And that confidence came back. It also came back when I was with my friends and my family. People didn't treat me differently. They treated me as honor. And that's all I ever wanted. And so now, I was able to say, all right, well, guess what? That attitude that I had changed on even my looks. I stopped worrying about the scars that I saw. And I started saying, hey man, you were always going to be a little different. Right? I couldn't change the fact that I was 6'3", just as much as I couldn't change the fact that I was burned. Right? I couldn't change the fact that this voice you can hear from down the hall before you even see me. But it's not a bad thing. And now I know that when I dress up in my nines like I am now, or like these pictures here, there's not a lot of people on this planet that can stand toe to toe with me. the mentality. That's just the mindset. I mean, that's a devilishly good looking guy. I'd take my own self out. But that's just the blessing, all right, of having this mindset and having this mentality, is to see yourself in that whole new light. Because it's more than just the tangible things, the tangible goals that we have here. This is all about loving yourself as well and what you're capable of doing. And like I said, the motivation, the attitude, the courage, these are all things that are inside all of us. It's just a matter of finding. See, I'm really fortunate because my scars are ones that everybody can see. My scars are on the outside, and it is very simple to say, hey, all right, this guy went through something. All right, but a lot of us in here and around the planet are dealing with stuff day in and day out that nobody can see. Nobody knows how to deal with it. All right, it's hard to be motivated to attack those scars when you don't even know where to start. It's hard to have the right attitude when you can't even fully understand them yourself. And how can you be courageous when you don't even know how to express yourself and share what you're feeling? But I'm here to tell you that these scars, just like mine, are not what define us. See, I found this quote that says, scars remind us where we've been. They don't have to dictate where we are going. And see, that's incredibly important because the scars are almost your history, right? This, every single day when I wake up and I see in the mirror these scars, it is a reminder of what I've been through. But it's also a reminder of where I'm going and who I'm trying to be. Because I know that these scars aren't what define me, right? I am a burn survivor. I'm also a brother, a son, I'm a cousin, I'm a teammate, I'm a coach. That is what defines me. It's the actions that I take, not my past, not my scars. And so if you are able to put that aside and understand that the pain that you feel, the hurt that you feel inside, isn't what defines you, but the action that you take going forward, that is what will ultimately write your story. And so for me to finish, all right, like I said, motivation for me right now is different than it was 13 years ago. Your motivation will change all the time. All right, but this right now, speaking and sharing this message is what gets me up to it. This is what puts a smile on my face. And my attitude is simple when it comes to speaking. It's this old saying I heard, if you want to change the world, you got to start with the man in the mirror. And then you got to go one person at a time. See, I know not everybody in here is going to believe in what I said, but if I can make it to one or two guys, then I did what I set out to do. And to be courageous, I mean, we can all sit here and try to share our stories for 30, 40 minutes, one by one, but I promise you, not everybody's going to jump to the gun and do it. So I want to leave you with this. What are you going to do to find that motivation that will ignite your life? How are you going to change your attitude from one that is negative or disruptive to positive and productive? And will you find the courage that's within each and every single one of you, I know it's there, to deal with the crap that's thrown your way, to deal with the adversity that's ultimately out there every single day? If you do that, then you have the right mentality. Thank you. You guys, I've been thinking about this for a long, long time. I just knew that I wouldn't want to start this journey anywhere else. All right, the place that has meant so much to me. I also want to thank Coach Torpy, all right, for just being a part of this and allowing me to have this opportunity. All right, my parents, man, who have been supporting me for when I decided to take this adventure, we had no idea how to exactly draw it up. There is no plan when it comes to pursuing something like this. But they never batted an eye. They believed in me. And like I said, I can't thank you guys enough for coming tonight. I love you guys.
Fellas, like I said in the WhatsApp, that was awesome, man. Awesome. share their thoughts. The floor is yours, man.
Yeah, no, fellas, obviously I've been around Coach C-Mac on staff for 4 or 5 years here, and I can't tell you what it was like to have this guy around every day. No matter how many 17s, whatever it was, you could always look at Coach C-Mac, he always had a smile on his face, probably making fun of us for having to do it, but it was to a point where you look at him and you just can't help but feel motivated. He does an unbelievable job, and I'm so pumped that he's going on this journey. And I hope you guys can take something from him, because he's an unbelievable person and he's going to absolutely murder this tour or whatever is going on, and I can't wait to see
Hey guys, some of y'all know what kind of was the deal with me and when I left early in the semester. But I just want to say what you said in this whole presentation, coming in here, I was just pretty anxious just about being around everybody, because kind of been isolated a little bit since I've been gone. But what you said there really spoke to me. The thing the mentality, the attitude, everything is awesome. For all you guys, I really hope you guys do listen. We're listening. Do take something from it. It's genius.
So fellas, I'd like to start off by saying, it's really easy to come up here and, talk about this perspective that C-Mac has here, and a lot of people can talk the talk, and not a lot of people can walk the walk. And I can confidently say that over the past 3.5 years, C-Mac's walked the walk, undoubtedly. And hearing what you have had to say about your experiences through the past 13 years and your perspective on things, I can't say that you're probably the most badass that I met, the most courageous guy that I've ever met. And the other thing I'd like to say is, any opportunity that you've ever been given, you've opened your arms up to it willingly, and you've taken it like a champ, whether that have been a teammate, a coach, a volunteer, and now stepping into this new life. You've taken everything with open arms, and I can't wait to see you eat this to let you know.
Hey everybody, I love these guys, man. I met C-Mac, ain't gonna put it on guys. I met C-Mac 4 years ago, man. And when I met C-Mac, we connect just like that. And man, let me tell you something. By hearing your story, man, how I feel the way I feel. I from this day on, hearing your story, I ain't got no complaints about nothing. I got to do what I got to do. How dare I wake up in the morning and say, I don't feel like going to work. Listen to this thing. I'm going to do all I can do, man. That was awesome, man. And I love to see that.
All right, man. Unbelievable job. I don't have much to say. I'm probably start crying if I do, but just beyond proud of this guy. What he's done. So let's give one more hand.